In this video I want to show you an incredible chess game where Nodirbek Abdusattorov went all in trying to win the first super tournament in his chess career and unfortunately lost everything. I tried my best to make it as instructive and entertaining for you as possible, so let's get started. Hi guys, and welcome to the Journey to Grandmaster channel, and I want to show you this incredible game which happened in the last round of Tata Steel Masters 2023 between Nodirbek Abdusattorov and Jordan van Foreest. Nodirbek came as a sole leader into this round, half a point in front of Anish Giri, and well, he needed just a solid game as white, but that's not at all what happened in the game. So it started with a Sicilian defense, and I have to give the credit to the Jordan here, because he didn't actually went just for an easy draw with something like e5, some solid lines. No, he went straight forward into some sharp lines here with his queen c7 Sicilian defense variation. And well, I'm not gonna talk a lot about the opening. I'm just gonna mention that this h5 move is a very aggressive one, and black is trying to be as active as possible and also sidestepping all of the theoretical lines here. So now basically it's all in a completely new position, this endgame, and it felt like, well, should be fine for white, because the position is very solid, and at least white should never lose this game, and that would guarantee Nodirbek at least a tie for the first place in the whole tournament. But let's see what happened here. So white played g4, trying to attack this pawn on h5 and just pin it and, well, create some pressure here. Black played g6, trying to defend it. Now knight went to f5, just offering this exchange because the pin is frankly very annoying. The bishop on e3 is hanging. Now the knight is hanging, so I mean, the knight is protecting the bishop, the knight is hanging, but you can't really take it, because then white is getting this bishop's pair, and with all of those weak dark squares, well, you can never allow that. So bishop takes e3 is the only option. That is what happened. Now still the black squares are pretty weak, but it's much more difficult for white to use it. Bishop e2, d6, and now g5. I'm honestly not a big fan of this move, because, well, later on you're gonna see in the game that this pawn became a weakness, and yeah, strategically it's a big risk here. f6, f4, takes, and it seems like, yeah, this knight can't really be developed, and well, it's all great, but it's also really risky for white, and it could go in both ends. Sorry. So here knight went to e5, rook to d4, rook to d8, just defending the pawn on d6, but actually it's a mistake, because here white can use this chance to attack the queen side, attack the weak a6 pawn, play a4, the knight goes to c6, rook goes back. Let me show you this variation. Knight c6, rook goes back to d2, and then b4, knight goes all the way back to d1, and then remaneuver to f2. And still, the most important thing is that, yeah, somehow I can't make the moves only chess. The most important thing is that this c4 square is available for white's knight now. And then the knight will be just a monster here, and it is much more important than losing a few tempi. White didn't really understood it, or maybe underestimated this whole idea for white, and played rook d1, which seems like a very good move, just doubling your rooks along the d file. What could be better than that? But the problem is now black is starting to be active here along the h file, and you don't have any rook to fight against it. And also remember the line I have just mentioned with a4 and b4. The knight went to d1 there, but here the knight has no d1 square anymore. Still, a4 could have been played, but Abdusattorov decided to play knight g4 instead. Knight went to c6, and now rook to h5. And remember what I said about this pawn on g5, that it's a really big strategical risk, and eventually it might become a weakness, and that is exactly what happened. Black played h4 first, and then rook h5, and now attacking this pawn. White played a brilliant move e5, just trying to be as active as possible, and there are a lot of tactical variations here. For example, if you just take on g5, then I take on d6, and that is a beautiful pawn. Of course, white is much better here. And also if you take on e5, then there is a beautiful knight takes e5 here, and the point is that if you take back with the knight, I win the exchange, and if you take the rook, I have the time to take the knight with a check. And also the rook on h5 is hanging, of course. So black played d5, which is the only good move, but a very good one enough, because now not only this g5 is a weakness, but also this e5 pawn is also a weakness, a target for black, and this knight should be here to protect it. But who's going to protect this bishop, this pawn on g5? That's the main question. And white came with this beautiful knight a4 answer, but yeah, you can take it immediately, because in this case, once again, for some reason it doesn't allow me to make the moves. Rook takes d8, knight takes d8, and then knight f6 with a double attack, and that's gonna be a big problem for black here. But white, black is not forcing to take the knight. That's the problem for white. So here, after knight f6, come on, I just want to show people this variation. Why are you not allowing me to do that? Knight f6, now attacking this knight with a check, and also attacking the rook. So if you take the knight, I'm gonna take it back with a pawn first, giving you a check, and then I'm gonna take the rook, and then those pawns will be just incredibly strong, just two passers basically promoting into a queen. And otherwise, yeah, this rook is coming to d7, winning the knight, so this line is completely winning. So here, instead of taking this pawn on, instead of taking this knight on e4, black just played bishop c8, which is a very clever move, because remember, rook d7 was a big problem in the previous variation. Now bishop c8 is making sure that nothing like that happens, and now the knight is actually hanging. Knight went to f6, but the problem is it's just exchanging this horrible knight on g8, and well, white is happy to do that. After the exchange, the rook went just back to d8, and those pawns are still horribly weak, but this time you don't really have any way to defend it. White plays the move knight to rook to e1 first, and now black played this move h3. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that if you play knight g4, which seems to be logical to defend the pawn, then rook to h5 attacks the g5 pawn, and there is nobody to defend that pawn. So that is why white played the move rook e1, and the point here is, after the knight e5, the idea might be to take the pawn on b5. Yeah, this bishop takes b5, and now if you take back, then rook takes e5. But black has beautiful move here, and pause the video for a second to find it, because I guarantee you're gonna enjoy this move. Okay, so the winning move for black here is the move h3. And yeah, the bishop is hanging, the knight is hanging, nobody cares, because it's all about this pawn. If you take the knight, then just h2 and the pawn is going to promote. If you take this pawn on h3, then the knight has this f3 square, giving you a fork and winning some material. And also the bishop is still hanging. So yeah, if you just go back, then still h2 and this pawn is going to promote. So that would have been a great variation for black. Black played h3 immediately instead, which is also pretty strong. Now just exchanging these pawns, because those pawns, in the end of the day, there would be always very weak. So black said, well, I'm not in a hurry to capture it, I'm gonna just stabilize the position, I'm gonna double along the h file and make sure that I control it forever, and then slowly I'm gonna remaneuver my knight, and eventually those pawns are gonna collapse and you don't have any way to defend it. So rook h2, black exchanged a pair of rooks and then stabilized the position a little bit. This b4 move is very important. Now this bishop is very strong here. The pawns are controlling all of the dark squares, and the knight is still ready to remaneuver itself to f7, which is a beautiful square, so that is what's happening. And there is no way for white to stop all of that. White has tried to create some counterplay, trying to create this passer here along the a file, but the problem is, if black takes here, then it would be great for white. The king will just take it back. Come on, let me show the game. Yeah, doesn't want to work today. So then we can have this pawn, and it's some kind of counterplay. Still better for black, of course, but well, you can try to fight here. But the problem is here, instead of taking this pawn on b3, this rook comes to h3 in between, and there is no way to defend this pawn on b4. So white is losing another pawn, trying to activate the rook, but it's just too late. The whole position collapses. Still the e5 pawn is weak, and now there are so many ideas for black. Black just took another pawn, and now it's just too many extra pawns, and white resigned here. So in this game, Nodirbek Abdusattorov went all in, trying to win the game and win the whole tournament, which was just beautiful for him. But unfortunately, he underestimated those positional risks and lost the game. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button if you did. I hope it was instructive for you, and consider subscribing to get even more educational videos, and hope to see you again.